Hi everyone. Today we're gonna discuss how to understand why people tend to act in certain ways instead of others. So, why people tend to buy some products while other ones they don't see value on that product. So, what we're trying to study is like a type of psychological study that we're trying to work that help us to understand light in different ways. So what we get that what we use to study is trying to explain what makes people act in certain way that the same type of features being present will not trigger the action in other one. So basically what we understand, if we're talking about actions, we're trying to say that we're acting towards getting some type of revenue coming from the world outside of us because we're not able to feed our needs just without having like no interaction with the world. So whatever we see someone trying to act behave, it's because they want to take something as a positive feedback coming from the world. And when we're talking specifically of the action of buying something, we're talking about business, people buy something that helps them to achieve the fulfillment of some type of need that the people have. But what are needs? And what makes someone buy and what one doesn't buy? If we're gonna see probably all every one of us, we have always the same type of needs. We have the same type of needs to get food, to survive, to reproduce. And so why we having the same needs, why some ones tend to act different than other ones if the needs are the same? But we have something that is the context that we are living on. So we tend to believe based in our beliefs. We live in a way that are something that we have learned as our background of experience that builds in our beliefs that we behave. And how do we learn? Basically, we have different learnings over our lifetime that make us understand the world in different ways, and so make us understand that different things can try to satisfy our needs, but these different things it's what gonna differentiate someone that buys a specific type of product and other ones will not buy. So basically what I'm saying, someone can see that having someone like a girlfriend is something that satisfies their need of having the ability to reproduce, while other ones will see that it's not by having a girlfriend. We want to go directly straight to the point for having like some type of treatment that already puts some women pregnant, and I just have like that to got that interaction. But why we change that? First concept that it's really crucial in the in the as a filter to do some actions or and other ones I don't will do is the opportunity cost. Opportunity cost talks about what we lose in our perceptions always, what we lose by doing action. And what it talks that we're only gonna do the action that make us have less losses. So we're all going to do the action that has higher differential between what we receive and what we have as losses. But depending the context that I'm included on, it's what gonna differentiate if I perceive something as useful or not, and if it's gonna having like the ability by doing action to generate some type of downside effect. Imagine that I choose as a woman to do the action of dressing, having like a dress that's they're kind of, I would say that are a bit less some I would say that is appropriate to use with some type of conservative mannerism, which obviously doesn't support having women that are kind of close to be naked. So I understand that I do this action. Probably the feedback that I receive from the external environment is different if I'm in a Western country than if I'm in a Eastern country. Because what? Different cultures, different ways to perceive the world, different feedbacks that are received from the social control context, which so gonna persuade a woman to do action. Probably this a woman that is in the Eastern context, in Asia, in Eastern European country type of region, probably will perceive so the action, the beliefs that they have been built in their brain will gonna so generate different perceptions of opportunity cost that action has. So that's why it's really important to define that beliefs it's what determines the perceptions of the world, and so beliefs what make us to act in different ways. And we have some beliefs that we're gonna get construct, and we build the beliefs by learning. We have learnings and we're sensitive to the learning by feedback. It's like one of the ways that we get. So we kind of learn to do things that we see that the feedback is positive, and we don't will make actions have a reproduction of actions if we see that we have downside effects of doing an action. Other things that is a bit more natural, we tend to do actions that spends less effort coming from our side because we were formed our brain as some type of way that to act that is a lot is a way that will create prosperity if we still will survive in some past centuries, that we would be in wildness, that we kind of don't have a lot of things, a lot of foods, and so I have to try to don't spend a lot of energy without receiving like feedback, positive feedback. That is something tendency we attach positive as satisfying our needs to survive, reproduce, and obviously to survive, getting feed on with food, with water, all these type of concepts. So we always tend to define our actions by feedback that we can get, so we kind of have the ability to predict what's going to be the feedbacks because we have had experiences that build so our beliefs. That's why it's so important to learn to build our beliefs. That obviously something that comes over time. We tend to learn by what? By repetition. So which more make a repetition and we get exposed to a specific action and more get positive feedback, more the belief will be built that this action is good and will perceive as a less opportunity cost, and so better is the probability of doing the action again. So that's something that's really important. Obviously, if we are animals that always train to maximize our utility, we always going to tend to do the actions that are the better ones. And so that's why it explains that we tend to buy things, products that are the ones that are perceived as the better ones. So other thing that is important, we build our behaviors of consuming based in heuristics of the way that we should act. That's it's like the pyramid is always based in opportunity cost, actions that maximize revenues and give us less type of costs. And we do this and we get these perceptions of what is good and what is bad by having the ability to learn. That's something that we have. This is why the world that we're living on. Other type of things that obviously will reinforce that statement. That is a bandwagon type of effect that exists. If I see other ones tending to do and to act in a certain way, I will tend to act in the same way as they are acting because my instinctive effects, some type of beliefs that I already got built on. I'm kind of predisposed to have and to develop some type of beliefs ways to perceive the world because we have genetics playing a role in genetics or something that's coming from heritage, and this heritage that comes from a lot of generations back from me and the ones that have evolved in a specific environment that explains so why we tend to act in certain ways. And so bandwagon, we tend to have bandwagon type of behaviors because if we look for people that didn't get a lot of information in the past, our ancestors, they will have like a tendency to act in a certain way that the others are doing, because if the others are surviving, it's because my brain's perceive that's something that's good. I'm receiving good feedback because other peoples are doing the actions and they are remain and they're surviving. If they're doing it, is high probability that they have already done the action past and they're surviving. So I should not spend my time effort in trying something with the risk of being not something that's like a successful tool to survivorship. And so I will follow what Holland's gonna do. So which more the product that I'm offering, that's some type of thing that is can be perceived as a value, and I have to build value around the product to someone to buy. It has to put with these simple heuristics models that kind of will determines the way that we perceive the world. So that's why it's so important to look for the opportunity cost, always trying to diminish the opportunity cost. So make always less kind of type of effort to being made to make the action of buy your product, which less steps you have to make and you have to put to pass to make the verification, which less steps you have, and you kind of have as a need something that the people have to do to buy your product, which less you have, less energy people will do, less will be the probability of they kind of get off from the customer journey till the point that you want that is them getting the buy of the product, so gives you money. So decrease that, but we have other step. We're trying and talking about how to kind of try not to replace, but cutting this type of bad things that comes with your action of buying your product, making so this trying to reduce the consumer journey. You can still build as well in what's are like the projections and what they can be like the negative feedbacks that they can get from people that so will not be encouragement to buy your product. So you have to be able to manage these consumers' feedbacks and the relations that they have with each other. So will determine the way that they will act towards your product, but obviously working in good things, trying to create a social proof, so how the people will proliferate in their social group if they buy the product. Try to obviously making like a reduce of the risk that people will have to assume to buy your product. By what? By building authority. That has authority, people perceive as a higher probability to don't suffer like with the type of difference that they have in expectations in what is the real value of the thing. So which more authority you attach your product, better they will be their expectations of your product, more so they will tend to act towards buying your product. You can have obviously other things that can play a role in order to make people like it. You can already as well trying to put some type of consumer reviews that can be made, but they will be so the social proof that other ones have already tested and approved your product, which more you are able to do, better will be better. So the belief that your product is good will be backed because these heuristics tends to build so the belief that something is useful. And obviously I would say that other thing that is one of the most important things that you have to look when you're offering something is obviously trying to associate your product with good things, understand that your customer segment, what's their experiences, what they perceive as something that's useful or not. This will something that will help by associating your products with something that your people respects. Probably if your people like and believe in some type of religion, if you associate so your product with something that the religion says, it's something that will kind of reduce the type of friction that can exist between what your product tries to proliferate in informations and what other ones believe, because I will tend to do something that is accordingly is with the accord of what I already believe. So trying to diminish the friction, try to get close from your consumers, trying to be close in terms of what they believe, what they believe too. And so it helps to do and to create some type coming near from your consumer. And so what is more near familiarity, it's something that I will kind of believe more, because it's something that's accordingly with I already believe about the world. And so it's something it's a bit more comfortable to follow. So I really hope to help you. This video will help you. And so I really hope you to as well to subscribe and see the other videos in my channel. So thank you.